It was the fall of 1976, a year where new life has entered the land. This is young Horus. Looks like he has just hatched this morning. His father is really proud of Horus, and so thus that is why his father is going to teach him everything he knows he has to know in life. And so thus, as soon as Horus was born, he was already being taught how to survive. Horus quickly learned that the world can be both a scary and a dangerous place. But of course, safe in his father's care, Horus, he had no problem with it. This jungle was his home for the next 15 years, ever since that day. As he grew, thanks to Horus's position as the second in command, he was able to keep peace in the herd. And as he got older, more of them started to respect him. Until sadly, one day, everything changed for poor Horus. At the time, the weather system on this island during those days were highly unpredictable. This fall is quite cold, and as you can see, there is a ton of leaves. But most importantly, this was the coldest day the island has ever seen. Despite not being a single snowflake in the air, it is still negative 40 degrees. This is too cold for him and his herd to survive. So thus, Horus's father made a plan. Since they are traveling animals, his father knew the right thing to do is to get their herd out of here as fast as possible, or else everyone is gonna freeze to death. Horus's father has made it clear they have to get out of here, whatever it takes, before they all die out here in the bitter cold. Horus doesn't want to leave his home. This has been his home for the last 15 years. Horus does not want to leave it. But sadly, he knows he cannot survive out here. So sadly, he has to leave behind what he knew, what he could call home. He said one final bellow as a farewell, and so they set off to their quest for a better home. Finally, after 6 weeks of traveling, they finally found it. This place may seem familiar to us. As you can see, this is the original island. The one that has the fateful lake, also known as Axe Lake, because as you can see, it looks like an axe. Not only that, even the other herbivores Horus has seen before have even made it to this paradise. Horus was delighted. He could already tell this was one heck of a home, and Horus loves it already. So, for the next few months, they were living life to the fullest. Horus, his father, his siblings, and his mother have all lived happily in this land until he arrived. A Giganotosaurus. As any Giganotosaurus, a very large one. This male is quite a ruthless piece of work. He wants to do nothing but pillage and conquer. And starting with this peaceful, innocent herd of stegosauruses. And what followed that day? It was a massacre. Horus's father and Horus himself, they're dumbfounded, so they plan on running, because they know this herd is completely tarnished. Unfortunately, as they were trying to run, poor Horus has just been shoved down. The Giganotosaurus finishes him, but that's when Horus's father, he has come to rescue him. Horus, he wishes he could help, but he's trembling with fear. His father knows this. He tells his young son to run. Sadly, Horus's father knows he's already getting too old to last on this planet. Sadly, it seems like this Giganotosaurus is cutting it short. Horus's father beckons him to run. The Giganotosaurus is chasing after him. As it looks like the Giganotosaurus is catching up poor Horus, that's when Horus, dumbfounded, his father just rammed the Giganotosaurus. That's when, sadly, Horus has unwillingly just provoked the wrath of this Giganotosaurus. The Giganotosaurus is now wanting blood. Horus watches as his father is about to be killed. His father tells and begs his son to run before everything ends for him as well. Horus really doesn't want to leave his father behind like this, but he knows he cannot take on such a massive threat. So sadly, he has to run. Ran he did. He ran for miles and miles and miles until his knees gave out. And that was the last time he ever seen his father. After hours of running, poor young Horus, he feels so guilty. He feels like he is a coward. And thanks to him, his father is dead now. Horus continued having these thoughts until the bitter end of the day. But of course, Horus has realized it's not really his fault. It's just Mother Nature had different plans for his destiny. And sadly, times like these where he realized that was the case. Ever since that day, Horus has missed his father, his whole family ever since. And he's been alone. Until 2 years has passed. It was the mating season. And Horus is about to win a fight. Horus and this other bull male have been battling it out for hours. This male is starting to get tired, so Horus makes a winning move. As it looks like Horus is about to give up in that male's eyes, that's when Horus he is charged into this male, actually breaking one of his legs. The females see him as weak, and Horus is the victor. He has won the affection of the females, as this younger male, he wishes he could have. He gets up and is ready to leave. With a broken leg, This male, his survival skills are now tanked because of this for the next few months. But that's when Horus calls out to the young male. Unbelievably, for the first time ever in stegosaur history at the time, Horus was remembered as the only alpha that actually let one of his opponents stay in the herd. The young male is not sure if he should take this offer, not knowing if it's a trick or not. Horus insists. So that's why Horus was remembered in his herd for his kindness, his bravery, and his wisdom. And that cycle has continued for the next 40 years. This is Horus now. He is over 60 years old. Or at least in dinosaur years. As you can see, you can tell by his age, he is severely dimmed of his color. As you can see, Horus has went from blue to now being brown with white plates and blue tips. However, the mates and friends he's made still see him as that young and brave stegosaurus he once was. And ever since, he has lived life to the fullest, sadly until that fateful day. As you can see, as the herd dwindles in numbers, sadly so did Horus's lifespan. Thanks to Horus's age, his mating has not been really successful with the females lately. Not to mention, the reason why the herd has dwindled, it's because, well, you see, age caught up to them too. And some of them were actually heartless to leave this herd because they were sick of Horus's age, and they needed someone young, someone vibrant again. Of course, these three are loyal, at least so Horus thinks. Because unfortunately, as the herd and the group, well actually as the group were walking, someone was here to take that title from Horus. It was another, but yet a more robust, younger bull male. The bull male is challenging Horus for the crown. Despite all the odds of Horus and his experience and his age, sadly, things did not turn out good. Sadly, poor Horus has lost. And this male, being selfish, he sadly kicked out Horus. Even though this male knew Horus would be defenseless on his own, this male was heartless and he didn't care. Horus was devastated. His reputation, everything he spent in his life so hard on to build, has just been taken away. Horus decides to leave. Sure, Horus has made alliances with other herds, but sadly those alliances didn't last forever, because just like this instance, they slowly dwindled over time. And so does poor Horus. He's been alone for the next 4 years, until that one fateful day. As Fujiwai is about to finish poor Horus, that's when something incredible happens. A new defender has just defended Horus. Despite having a broken leg, Horus is amazed that someone, in fact a different species, has just defended him from the Omega of Death. Better luck next time, Fujiwai. Finally, after 4 long years, Horus has just made a friend. Jax and Horus, they've been the dynamic duo ever since. I am so sorry for all that stuttering. The two of them were inseparable, thanks to Horus's wisdom and the fact that 2 is better than 1. He has taught Jax some life lessons that he's gonna need when his time comes. This continued until, sadly, the infamous disaster came. The most severe dry season hit this part of the island so bad it took lives. And lots of them too. At first, Horus and Jax, they didn't know what to do. They didn't know how to react in such a disaster like this. But thankfully, thanks to this brilliant idea, the two of them spotted their opportunity for a new home that they could potentially call a forever home. The one day that fateful migration changed everything. Ever since, Horus and Jax knew what they had to do. They joined the migration. They stood together side by side until finally, after all that time, they finally found a new place to call home. And that place we know, it is none other than the island of Jurassic Adventure. And Horus, he has seen snowstorms, rock slides, terrible dry seasons, and terrible foes. Regardlessly, he is living life to the most he has ever lived it in over the past 4 years. Ever since this happened to him, Horus has been living the best life he could ever live. Sure, he may be up there with age, but the one thing that cannot be taken away from him is his friendships that he makes along the way. Until the bitter end, Horus the stegosaurus will forever be a great character.